To read or not to read? I think that's a bigger question.
Hello everyone, this is Angel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to introduce another interesting novel. As usual, I will give you 3 clues. Through each clue, you will get a quick glimpse of the book and decide if you want to continue reading the book or not. I'm going to read the hook, which is the opening of the story. Try to guess the genre of the book as I read the sentence, okay? Here goes. He waited, hidden by dusk and the garden bushes against the bark of an oak tree. Watching, the spot gave him full view of the house and gravel driveway. What is the genre of the book? You can shout out your answer or point your finger on top of the choice on the screen. Is that your final answer? Let's see if you guessed it right. This book falls under the magic and fantasy label, as well as action genre. Were you right? So do you want to guess who this he is in the story? And why do you think he's waiting and watching in the dark? Alright, let's move on to our second clue. We are now going to read the first chapter together. As we read, you can try to guess the age rating of the book. Suddenly, light darted across the grass by his feet, and Boy pulled back further into the shadows. A silver car crunched along the driveway towards him and stopped. His heartbeat quickened. The engine purred to silence. The large door of the house opened, and the Archer twins stood silhouetted in the light from the hallway. As Boy watched, statue still, a shiver danced down his spine. A man got out of the driver's seat, a woman from the passenger side. He hadn't imagined the doctor would have company. The woman looked nervous, staring across the roof of the car at the man. He smiled awkwardly at her, then walked towards the twins, greeting them with a handshake. The woman followed, and the 4 of them disappeared inside. Boy ventured a little out of shadows, stopping short as the doctor called, "Violet, come in from the car. Pat, it's chilly out there." The back door of the car opened a little, then quickly slammed shut as a breeze rustled the leaves above him. Boy held his breath and pulled back into hiding. The car door swung open again, and this time a small, frightened girl dashed out across the gravel towards the house. Boy couldn't help laughing. She sped up, jumped the steps, and rushed in through the front door, banging it shut behind her and plunging the yard back into darkness. The car door hung open, and Boy pushed it shut. As he edged closer to the kitchen window, he just caught sight of the girl sliding into the room. He sat down by the steps to wait. Night rolled on. The watchers would be patrolling soon, and he couldn't be caught outside the walls again. He'd come back in the morning, early, and speak to the doctor then. He took one last look in the window. The girl sat between her mom and dad. A proper family. Something inside him stunned as he thumped the rub-worn note in his pocket. What do you think would happen next? Are you intrigued to find out? Before that, have you guessed the age rating of the book? Well, this book is written for children aged 9 to 12 and is written at a Lexile level of 690, which is equivalent to grade 3 to 4 in the United States. And as we read through the first chapter, have you noticed any piece of information that has some hidden meaning behind it? For example, here are some of the hints from first chapter. In this part of the story, it stated, the Watchers will be patrolling soon, and he couldn't be caught outside the walls again. First of all, who are the Watchers? And why couldn't he be caught outside the walls? And what walls was he referring to? Was it a prison? Did he escape from somewhere? And here's another hidden information. The girl sat between her mom and dad, a proper family. Something inside him stung as he thumped the rub-worn note in his pocket. Obviously, this boy might come from a broken family, so that's why it stung him to watch a perfect family in front of him. There are quite a lot of bits and pieces throughout the whole first chapter that provide background to the story. Have you noticed anything else? If you do, please leave them in the comment section below. So now we're moving on to our third and final clue, the cover of the book. I don't think this is counted as a clue because once I give you the cover, I think you guys would actually know what this book is about. But anyway, if you have read the book already, would you be able to shout out the name of the novel right now before I reveal the picture? And if you haven't read the book, I will like you guys to look at the cover of the book and guess what this book is about. So, ready for the moment of truth? 3, 2, 1. The book that I'm recommending today is The Place Called Perfect. Has anyone read it and liked it? Leave a comment below and tell us why you liked it. And for those of you who haven't read the book, allow me to give you a synopsis of the book. Violet had to leave her friends behind and moved to this new town called Perfect because her father was headhunted by the Archer brothers, who learned her father had won an award for his research as an ophthalmologist. Upon arriving at this airy little town, the Archer brothers warmed them up to their new house with specialty in Perfect, the Archer's tea. By the name of it, it does not take a rocket scientist to figure out who was behind the production of the tea. It's harvested daily and delivered fresh to every doorstep every morning. It was said to be good for health and had the most unusual properties. If people try to imagine the nicest taste they would think of and then take a sip of the tea, they would taste the flavor in their mouth, even when it was actually from a dull milky brown liquid. And the Archers also revealed a secret, or more like a nightmare, that had haunted the town for a long time. After inhabiting a short time in Perfect, people will find their eyesight start to get blurry, and then the edges of their vision blur. Eventually, they will go completely blind. Hence, the urgent need of Violet's father's expertise. However, the effects were temporary. People would restore their eyesight as soon as they leave the town. Without warning, things took a turn for the worse. The very next day, after they moved in Perfect, Violet woke up finding herself half blind, and so did her parents. The Archers explained that Perfect was so close to the sun. It was the sun that streamed in their window all morning that caused the blindness to react so fast. The Archer's brother took them to Archer Brothers Spectacle Makers Emporium, the only spectacle store in Perfect to fetch their special glasses. All the frames were the same, rectangular. Luckily, mine not. Gold-rimmed and delicate with rose-tinted lenses. When wearing one, people could see the beautiful world again. In fact, everyone appeared perfect through the spectacles. As the story progresses, things take a darker turn. Violet's father vanished mysteriously, while her mother started to act strange. It's up to Violet to save her family and solve the puzzle of the town of Perfect. She teamed up with a local orphan boy, and together they worked to uncover the secrets of the town. Will they succeed? And what are those secrets? You will have to read the novel to find out. Here are some interesting and funny parts that I hope will attract your interest in wanting to read the book. This is my final attempt to get you hooked. In chapter 1, it begins with the boy's point of view, which is POV, while chapter 2 starts with the girl's POV. It shows the reader how the two of them react to the same incident, which I thought was really amusing, especially when their reactions were completely the opposite. Remember, the boy was hiding in the bushes, and this happened? Boy held his breath and pulled back into hiding. The car door swung open again, and this time a small, frightened girl dashed out across the gravel towards the house. Boy couldn't help laughing. She sped up, jumped the steps, and rushed in through the front door, banging it shut behind her and plunging the yard back into darkness. The car door hung open, and Boy pushed it shut. When you read the part where the boy tried to close the car door, did you question his IQ for doing that? Especially in the middle of an extremely quiet night. That would definitely cause a scene, right? Here's Violet's perspective on the same event in chapter 2. She'd have to make a run for it. She took a deep breath. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3! She flung open the car door, jumped out, and ran for the house. Without looking left or right, she bounded up the steps and leaped over the threshold. Just as she slammed the front door, she thought she heard laughter echo through the trees. She slid down the wall onto the hallway, trying to catch her breath. Surely it wasn't laughter. Then the car door banged, and she froze. Was there someone outside? Her heartbeat quickened. From second chapter, we knew that it's definitely a slamming of door, because the girl could even hear it inside the house. If he wanted attention, he shouldn't have hidden in the bushes in the first place, right? He should have just jumped out of the bushes when Violet's family car arrived at the driveway. So why did he do that? Also, there are parts of the story that will make you chuckle. For example, when Violet tried to describe the appearance of the Archer brothers from her POV, this was how she depicted them. She tried not to laugh. George Archer was so tall he couldn't stand straight in the low-ceilinged room. His head bent to one side, almost touching his shoulder. Everything about him was long, from his snake-like arms and wormy fingers to his pencil-thin nose that almost divided his face in two. His head was completely bald and creamy white like a freshly laid egg. Clearly uncomfortable, he quickly sat back down. "And I'm Edward, pleased to meet you, Violet," the smaller of the archers said as he stood to shake her hand too. Again, she had to stop herself laughing. Violet wasn't even the tallest in her class, but she was the same height as Mr. Edward Archer. What he lacked in height, he made up for in width. He was square like a loaf of bread. His head was attached straight to his shoulders, as if he had forgotten to grow a neck, and his eyes stuck out a little, as though they were trying to escape from his face. If you were to draw them according to her description, what would they look like? Do we have any great artists that don't mind sharing their pictures with us? Here's my email, so please send them to me, and I can share them with my students. I think the picture would definitely crack me up. And the description of the Archer brothers is also an important piece of information for the story too. Because after Violet put on her spectacles or glasses, the brothers looked completely different. Do you want to know how their appearance had changed? Grab the book and find out yourself. Anyway, this book is fast-paced, action-packed, and filled with lots of twists and turns. It's a perfect book for adventure lovers, because they will love every minute of it. The Place Called Perfect is a trilogy, and I believe it is worth a read for all ages. Grab the book at the nearest bookstore around you. Enjoy reading, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!